So good evening, I'm call to order the meeting for the Raleigh Planning Board. Tonight is June 25th at 7:30 p.m. Tonight we have a couple of items on the agenda. The first item is a continued public hearing for a special permit site plan review for the definitive subdivision at 491 Main Street, which is a special permit for a common driveway, floodplain and accessory building permit larger than 1,500 square feet. So I know you're here for the applicant. When we last met, we were just making a couple of final adjustments between yourself and the technical agent for the town, and I understand you've made some progress on that, and things are pretty well wrapped up at this point, right?
Yes, we've gotten approval through H.L. Graham Associates. We've got plans, so reviewed what Kurt has put together for you guys to sign for a COV.
Just do it, I'm sure.
Okay.
Okay, so what were the last few changes that needed to be made? I know that
The marker.
oh, that's right, the markers and the
Solid gold markers.
So, I was talking to Larry about that, about those markers. He was talking about, there's no problem with the iron pins being used for property markers.
okay.
The right-of-way, the monuments that were proposed for the right-of-way come out of the rules and regulations, and it applies just to the right-of-way.
Okay.
So the concrete is for that, and if he was saying that if there's a need, once he gets out in the field, and with the board, if the board wants to assign, give him the authority, he could actually make the suggestion for a change as needed.
Okay. They've conveyed that to you as well in terms of
Yes, yes. There was
Okay.
someone on the board last time that would prefer to have iron pins out there versus the concrete monuments.
There was quite a discussion about it, but I'm not sure where the,
I don't know.
They
either.
got around and around.
I think that the iron pins mainly apply to that property line.
Yes, yep.
For you guys, right? So, but for the right-of-way itself, the markers, he's saying that the rules and regulations require a concrete monument.
Sure.
and otherwise you looked over all Larry's comments and
Yes.
everything we discussed today.
Yes.
There's a few final things that Larry needs to take one last look at. Are we all done at this point?
No, we are all done.
All right.
Yeah, he took a look at it. I was just talking to him at 5 o'clock, so
Yeah.
he's good. Yeah, he mentioned that about the markers, make that change about, there was a misspelling, and markets instead of markers. I saw that.
Concrete markers.
Okay, well, I think we still have the meeting open, so I think if there's is there any comment here on this specific item?
No, the only thing that I would like to know is what is the final edict as far as the pins that I requested along the boundary lines? Is that final and part of the conditions or not?
Yes.
Yeah, they would be
Yes.
putting iron pins in, can you show them one?
So this isn't the plan of land, which is on sheet 4, but
We might have something a little larger blown up if you want to take a look
I
at
can
it.
see it from here. If you want to point it out, that's fine. That's fine.
yeah, so as required for the right-of-way, there will be a monument put here, 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 here. I'm losing my.
So those are all,
Those are all for the right-of-way,
Yeah.
and then there is an iron pin that will go in here, go in here, and go in here, and this one's already in.
That's a drill mark, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
is that what we're looking to see marked out?
Yep.
In fact, the discussion last week, whether it was granite monuments or iron pins, so.
Yeah, and I'm fine with the iron pins, and I was fine with the iron pins from the beginning. It was not looking to add any exorbitant costs.
Yep.
Just as long as it's marked.
Yep.
Yep.
Great. Thank you.
All right, thanks. And so there's gonna be some common driveway scheme put together and some easements and restrictions, you'll submit them before we do the, okay. I knew that was, so that's really the only piece that's remaining for review and subject to further.
No, we had talked in regards to the covenants and restrictions and the deed recordings
Yeah,
that,
Larry was pointing out about the way it reads now, I changed it so that, that the covenants, the maintenance agreement, and all that stuff that we normally review with these, especially in this case, because it's a private way, and then also a common driveway, so there would be maintenance agreements and associated with both of those between the two properties. And he was wanting that, he was suggesting that that those be submitted, initially he was saying be submitted before we approve it, but typically when we've done these kind of approvals, we've allowed them to submit those documents like afterwards, prior to either getting a building permit, or I was putting in there a certificate of compliance from the planning board. Because they can't get certificate of occupancies until they get the certificate of compliance. That'll give them time to actually have the documents drawn up. And they know ahead of time that it has to be done, otherwise you can't issue a certificate.
correct, yep.
Okay, so, again, just, we're gonna approve it today, prior to, certificate of compliance with this, to see the common driveway covenants.
Yes, yep,
All right,
yep.
anybody else, Mark, you good?
Yeah.
David? Here's our form.
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
All in favor?
I,
Aye. All right. So, with that said, and we have, this is really the second time we're looking at this item. Larry did take it back, we made the changes we've discussed today. Everything's to the technical review agent's satisfaction at this point. We're going to come back with the common driveway restrictions and easements, but otherwise, we're ready to approve this as proposed.
To make a motion that we approve it as proposed
And this is for the special permit
with a special
and
permit.
the site plan part of it. And then there's also the definitive subdivision that actually creates these lots.
So you want to take a separate vote on each?
Yes.
Okay, so David's motion is for, that we approve the special permit for the common driveway.
Yes, the common driveway, the accessory building greater than 1,500 square feet, and then the floodplain inspection.
Okay, so all under one vote, okay.
I said,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, then I'll move that we also approve the definitive subdivision.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye. Okay.
Now,
So,
second.
that's what you were hoping to accomplish, right? Very good. Thanks.
And we will sign the plan tonight.
Yes.
Yeah,
Done
there's two
now.
plans here. Now, I'll make the correction that Larry suggested and remove the draft.
Yep,
I'll go ahead and get Chris to sign it if you're around sometime tomorrow, and then that's what you'll take to get recorded, but it
Yep.
has to go to the clerk for 20 days,
right,
and then
yep,
you pick it up, take it over to him.
okay.
So
So they
I'll
don't,
bring that, I'll let you sign that tomorrow.
Okay, so we need to sign
they'll
that.
pass tomorrow today.
What?
I'll sign that.
Sign these, so they can take a copy, and then she also wants, that would be the copy for
I'm asking if you guys would sign this
Yeah, that'd be
only
for-
color one. It's exactly the same that is in here,
Okay.
just so that the prominent can have this beautiful plan signed.
And the
Hang on their wall.
the pins are all marked on that.
No, this is page 5, the pins are on page 4.
Sign.
So definitive subdivision plan is sheet 4.
Now, Chris, one little question. The pins aren't marked that I've requested. They're not marked on that map. Should they be?
No, they're on,
Sheet 4.
they're on sheet 4.
Oh, okay, good, thank you.
This is
They didn't show up on here, but they were gonna.
Yeah, this is for the planning, or for the site plan for the planning board. Now, the definitive subdivision, that's where, as mentioned, it takes we need a Mylar to sign.
Yes.
They could sign this definitive subdivision plan, but you can't record it, so.
Right, right.
So
Yep.
they'll bring, in the next week or so, bring us the Mylar, and then I'll bring it to you guys, so you get signed. So sheet 4 or 5, so.
Why is there is no sheet for
Oh, that's right. Bill,
Oh, it's not sheet 4, it's sheet 5. Which one's got the pins?
sheet 5 is the one that we signed for the,
What sheet for
Which one has the pins?
well, that's, oh, the pen, that's the.
Sheet 4.
But, yeah, if you wanna.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure it's,
This is a drill line
Yeah.
over here.
My phone right now.
There's no pipe there, it's a drill line there. So the next one is gonna be at the middle point here.
Yep.
Going here.
Well, not middle point, at that point.
That's fine,
Okay.
yeah, that's fine. It's just not an actual point. It's fine. I also asked for one over here, which you disregard. I've asked for one here, 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 and here, and I said, if I can look at the plans, I'll draw it. So that's what I was looking for, that's what I had asked the board for, and then I asked the owners for.
Big, scary.
So you're telling me you don't want to do this one?
And James and Tom.
It's up to the owners, but because this is already here, it gives you
Going
your
right back
straight
into
line.
one.
Here, here, here.
I didn't do it. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I was like, if that was me, though, he would go
Yeah.
right down there.
Yeah, so these are gonna be monuments because of the right of way. And then you have this that's already here, and then we'll put that in, this in.
so that's an iron pin and those are one.
Yep,
Okay, so that, these marks here denote pin?
yes.
Okay, good. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
No, it's okay.
Mark, for sign.
Oh, you're welcome. There you go, Ruth.
Neighbor,
Neighbor, good morning.
I always want to see that.
What's the other part?
No, we did that, we, so good. Really. Yeah, like he's amazing.
Well, that's
So
what it is.
I didn't really notice the
Does
little
look like
things
reverse.
until like a couple days ago. So they sprayed flowers.
It is around the bottom.
When tomorrow will be 2 weeks ago. And then they come over to 3 weeks. Yeah.
There's two sets.
So it's like I didn't really notice it after.
No,
They
All right, so the next item?
Yeah, go to Mr. Lucier.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So the ones that have.
Yeah.
But they were so.
I think it is, yeah. So next item is just other business. We have a discussion with Wayne Lucier pertaining to 165 Newburyport Turnpike, redevelopment. Yes. How you doing? Good, how are you? Wayne? Yes. I'm Wayne. Who's behind me? That's Tim Barrett, the broker.
Nick Gonzalez. How you doing?
How's everybody doing?
Very good, thanks.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Slow night.
But that doesn't mean you have to slow down.
So what can we do for you?
Well, I mean, I understand, you know, we've owned that station for about, I don't know, maybe 20 years. Okay, we bought it from Bailey's at the auction. And, you know, it's time for us to pass along the baton to something. And about 5 years ago, we decided to sell it. We also know from talking to the town that the town would like a gas station at that corner. Okay, because there's no gas station in town. If you want gas, you gotta go to Ipswich, Newburyport, Georgetown, to fill your car up. The trouble is we've had customers who wanted to buy it, like Cumberland Farms, okay? Who came in with a high price and looked at it for 3 or 4 months and came back to us and said, look, you know, we like the site, there's 18,600 cars go by that corner every day, but they did homework. And they said, we're not happy with above ground tanks. We don't want the liability for an explosion. And they backed up. They were just one of the big customers. But we've had Drake Petroleum down here, we've had, you know, other, you know, many, you know, small chains of gas stations who wanted to buy it, and they all walked away because of restrictions on the tanks. Now, it was my understanding, when talking to the town, that they may be interested in changing the zoning at that corner to put tanks in. They asked me to deliver a 21E, which I dropped off at Ken's office for a meeting that he was going to have, I guess, maybe with you people. Okay. And now I've got another prospective buyer, which is Wayne here, who has the same concerns. So I think you want to finish this.
Yes, my letter was fairly self-explanatory. I did some work with my civil engineer, who's probably permitted a couple hundred gas stations in New England. So he does work for all the major oil companies, a lot of the small guys like myself. I had him look at it. It sits in Zone 2 of the Mass DEP Wellhead Protection Zone. So that's a state of Massachusetts regulation, not a town of Rowland regulation. So I guess what I was proposing is if we could get to that, if we could get the town of Rowley to adopt the Mass regulation. That regulation states that if you vault the underground tanks, they're considered above ground tanks. That's how the state of Massachusetts looks at it. So you're basically putting a concrete vault in the ground to protect, if there is an issue, to protect against a spill or an issue. So that's kind of how I was approaching it. I think it's reasonable. You know, comply with the state regulation.
What were they asking for now? I'm not really following.
So your regulation just states that you're not allowed to have underground storage tanks. Even if you want to.
Regulation.
That's in the zoning bylaw, the municipal water supply.
So it would have to be amended by
It would have to
town
be
vote.
amended by a town vote.
Okay, so you can probably wear that process, right?
Well, so we discussed it briefly. I mean, my understanding of it was Kirk suggested we have a conversation with you.
Sure.
And my understanding was you guys needed to propose that to the ZRC. Is that what it's called, the Zoning Regulation Committee? I'm not sure if I have this 100%
Yeah,
right.
no, I just wanted to make sure you
Yeah, that was my
lengthy process. It's not
understanding.
something the board can do within our own
Right.
discretion. But, you know, we would likely, you know, entertain what you're suggesting, refer to the ZRC, that they consider the issue. The ZRC likely would see the benefits of it, but then it's still got to go from the ZRC to the town warrant.
Back to the planning board.
Back to the planning board, where we hold public hearings on the issue, and then a recommendation will come out of the planning board to go to the town meeting, or for the item to go on the town warrant to amend the ordinance, and then at the town meeting, we have to have 2/3 of the people vote in support of it. Which, you know, for all the reasons, you know,
That would work for
I think people would be behind it. At the same time,
Okay.
we did try to change some of the zoning on Route 1 this year, and there was surprisingly overwhelming opposition to it. So,
For a gas station in town?
no, for commercial business up Route 1, further north from where you're at, no, and the town didn't want it. You know?
So the zoning is actually not an issue in terms of doing a gas station there.
Well,
The issue lies in the
it's the
underground.
tanks.
Is
Yeah.
the issue lies right? The issue lies in the underground storage.
Yes, the use is not, the use is permissible, but that,
Right.
that that
I mean,
condition.
I think it's permissible by special permit,
Yeah,
so it would go to your vote, but,
yeah.
um,
But it says no.
but I mean, somebody would be so restricted as even if you had a residential house in that area, you couldn't put a tank,
Not-
you couldn't put an oil tank in the ground, or, it's pretty restrictive, so.
Yeah, I mean, anything, it's because it's in the water supply district.
Right, correct.
That applies.
But the state regulation allows, just like you just said, the encapsulated concrete underground
Right.
storage tank it has the same
Right,
standards. as
and this
the
all
above
comes about, like you just said, because it's in the wellhead zone,
ground. Right.
and so the state has regulations on that also. So basically, the town of Raleigh's regulations go beyond the state regulations.
Mhm.
So what we would propose is try to get them to coincide with the state.
I guess,
Wayne, what would you like to have there?
A gas station.
Just a gas station?
A gas station convenience store, something like Cumberland Farms, something like you see up the street in Georgetown.
How about better than that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be brand new, so it'll be state of the art. But yeah, I mean, we're just trying to get it along. I did bring, I can show you these, I did bring. So this is just a conceptual we did a couple of years ago, because I've been going round and round with Nick about this for a little while. So, I think you have this, but that's one kind of idea that we came up with. So.
No drive-up windows.
It's not a necessity for us. I mean, to be honest with you, this would be our
Don't think we allow-
fifth or sixth station, and we've never done. My dad's not big on putting drive-throughs in our gas stations. It just clogs up the site.
You get to know your customers better. if they come
Right.
inside.
Right, and this is, I don't want to say an older layout, this is the layout we've done in the past. Kind of fits well on that site because you have the McDonald's right away in the back. But this isn't set in concrete, but this is kind of one way. This is one of our layouts at one of our other stations. So.
As far as the water source certification, you sure that's the only permitting, additional permitting you need? Because it's in that what zone 2? Is there anything else that we need to be looking at?
Not that I've seen on the zoning, no. And I've looked at the regs a few different times. No, I mean, to me,
It's just gonna be time consuming as you will.
So, is it allowed
So
usage?
so it needs to go to the zoning board, and then it needs to come back to the planning board, and then it needs to
Then it
go
goes
to
town
to the vote.
And then they vote.
And if it votes passed, then the bylaw is rewritten or whatever.
because I can do it.
Well, it's already rewritten. They are voting on the written.
On the version, there was
Voting on the new
It's a
version.
two-thirds vote.
When what would like the time frame be? When would the warrant
Probably, it might be as late as next May.
next May?
Yeah.
It's possible that the town will do a second meeting like in the winter. Usually they do it depending on what needs to be voted on. And, if there's a critical mass of items, they'll hold the meeting, but the meetings are expensive, printing the ballots expensive. So I could never say for sure we'd have a winter meeting. But, that really is the kind of the timeline that you'd have to follow. One thing I'd also say is that, I can't speak for everybody, but I think it makes sense. We'd like to see a gas station back at that site, It seems like, for all the reasons you said, there's no place else in town to go for gas. But,
Well, that's not exactly.
well, that's true, but, no,
No,
yes, right.
That is a good location.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wrote in the letter. It's, I think, our contention that, to me, that site, the highest and best use is a gas station. Obviously, there's other things you can put on there. There's no denying that, but I think a gas station makes a lot of sense on that corner.
But what I was going to get at is that, because we do have to pitch it to the town to a certain degree, anything you can bring in to demonstrate that the safety aspects, that all the environmental concerns that the people in town are going to be concerned with, if you could help us, educate people about what you're proposing and why it is that this is as safe as, and consistent with all the practices.
And if the state deems vaulted tanks underground as being the same as above ground, that's a point that needs to be made and brought out in a public.
Because that's what the ZRC, will discuss it, kick it around, make a proposal for what the ordinance would look like, and then it comes back to the planning board for open meeting, where people from town get to come in and kind of pick it apart a little bit. That's when we want to try to explain to them that this is a safe alternative that makes sense. Because once it comes out of that, then we just wait for the town meeting.
I can honestly tell you there's only one other gas station I know of, okay, that has above ground tanks. It's in the Worcester County area.
Bellingham
Yes,
has.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the only
Yeah.
one.
That's got
It's the only one in the whole
It's the
state of
only one that I know of.
Massachusetts.
It's off 495 in
Yeah.
Bellingham. It's the only
Yeah.
one I know of.
I
that
can't
has it.
imagine, I can't picture one for sure.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't.
And they're dangerous.
Yeah.
They'll explode. I mean,
Somebody
there's-
crashed
you
into the
you
thing.
got a ton of kids over at McDonald's every day.
Yeah.
I mean, if something happens, it's going to be, serious with above ground tanks.
So I guess my question would be too, would the town consider vaulted underground tanks, above ground tanks? I mean, would we need to go through
Well,
the warrant process? Would you recognize the same thing that the state recognizes?
that's what we'd be.
We have to go through the
It's gotta be
process.
done.
The ordinance,
You can't, there's no way around.
we can't disregard what's in the ordinance.
Okay,
So could we create a waiver to the ordinance? Unfortunately, we can't.
okay.
But you have, right here, 2 members of the ZRC.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, so I mean,
We're totally familiar with your problem.
yeah. Okay,
the truth is, it's a less than 12-month problem, but if you've got 12 months, likely work.
Every other buyer's got probably the same problem.
yeah, yeah, I mean, no doubt about it.
But if you can think of all the positives in the design that will make it great for Raleigh, that's what helps you win this thing.
Okay.
Excellent.
How much time is involved before the warrant? Like, how soon would we need to start working on it?
Well, as far as the,
Like-
we want to get the ZRC started as soon as possible, because
Okay,
we were talking about the fall town meeting. I think if there is going to be one,
There's no guarantee.
yeah, it's not a guarantee.
Did they have one last year?
No.
No. And
Well, they were going to have the winter town meeting for the.
the zoning issues didn't come to be.
Yeah. But there is, this year, Cindy Lane is going to be coming up, and we're going to be wanting to, so that, I don't know if that will have any impact.
So we're looking at 2 different timelines. And if you keep things moving, it's possible if we can get to a winter meeting, we'll do it then.
okay,
Particularly if it's all teed up for us. If if you're really targeting the May meeting, then you definitely have more time, But you definitely want to get 6 months isn't too soon prior to the town meeting to get things started. If you were determined to get it on for December, I'd get going right now. If you're determined to get it on next May, then you could probably wait until the fall.
okay. It's good to
The
know.
public hearing just has to be held within 6 months of the actual town meeting itself.
Okay,
The public hearing that the planning board would hold, but in terms of the lead up to it, we could start that now
okay.
with the ZRC, call the ZRC and start.
I mean, it seems like a long-term thing, but if it goes through, then your long-term investment is worth it. But
Yeah, no, I
nothing
mean,
moves fast in these
I don't think
times.
anybody denies it's a good piece of property, it's in the corner, good town, I mean, I went to school at St. John's Prep, and I'm from Amesbury originally, so I'm very familiar with this area, just growing up, so.
Is this discount gas or?
Gas convenience store, yeah. I mean, we like to do diesel too, if it's possible.
The prices are comparable to Cumberland?
Yeah.
Yeah, you go to the Cumberland Mountain Dam, it's cheap. You go down here, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we buy it branded,
But
so.
you guys can battle it out. Yeah, that's good for Raleigh.
Better off for you, David. They battle it out.
Well, they better profit too.
Yes,
Well, I have issues here too, okay, because I don't want to sit here and wait and own the property and carry it for a year and a half or 2 years, and then find out that, you know, you guys don't want it, or the town doesn't want it, or the people, residents don't want it.
Yeah, that's the
okay?
problem, you can't control the.
I mean, I've got developers who put Starbucks or whatever on that corner, you know, who want the corner.
Well,
You
it's
know,
so
I mean,
called,
you know,
It's,
well,
it's unfortunate.
Well, they
Yeah,
can't.
so, I mean, if the town is interested in a gas station, that's why I'm here.
Well, let me just ask, so you
Okay.
mentioned earlier that early on, you heard from the town that they were interested in keeping the gas station there.
Right.
Is that from the Board of Selectmen?
I heard from the building
Only reason I say that is, the timeline is determined,
heard from the Conservation Commission that they were interested in.
because the thing is, the timeline is determined a great deal by when we have the next
And
town
we
meeting.
worked with whoever wanted to put a gas station in there.
What I'm saying is, if the people on the Board of Selectmen are behind what you're trying to do,
Right.
they may be more inclined to have a fall town meeting so that you can move along more quickly. So you may decide to ask for some more support there.
You know, for me, it's an economic thing, okay? If it's costing me $7,000 a month, and it's gonna take a year and a half to get approvals, I can just take a lesser sales price from somebody else. And, I mean, it doesn't make a difference to me what's there. It could be another Burger King, you know? I wouldn't care.
Okay, Burger King.
It'll be a Burger King. And you know what?
know,
As much as like, it's all well taken, somebody's gonna pay you a hell of a lot more for a gas station than a Starbucks.
That's right, that's why I'm here.
Okay, so let's not lose sight of
What I
that.
said to you was, if I have to wait 7 months, my carrying cost is $7,000 a month, I just assume take the lesser price for it. And get out now and get the money in
Yeah,
my
but the
hand.
problem is, it isn't up to us.
It's an economics thing for me.
It
It's
isn't up to
not,
us. no.
it's got nothing to do with anything else here.
Yeah.
He wants to come into town and give you people what you need in this town, okay? And that's why we're here.
But we don't know.
We don't control.
We don't control the vote,
Right, no, I understand that.
and another use may have almost as much difficulty as the gas station.
And so you really don't want to drive through on that site?
We don't.
They won't
drive
allow
those.
Okay.
There are drive-through pharmacies, that's one drive-through.
I think the banks are not, right? It's not-
Banks are around
Big.
there. And McDonald's has one, but I think they predated.
I think Starbucks wouldn't be allowed to have one.
Formula fast food
Fast
wouldn't be allowed to have, or you wouldn't be allowed to have formula fast food, period.
But if you get good people working inside, it works just as
Do you consider like a drive-up window the same as a drive-through?
Yeah.
It's the same, considered the same?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just want to know, so I know.
And maybe in design, you think something that fits with the town of
I'll
Raleigh.
tell you, I think Cumberland Farms makes more money in that store than a gas station. That store is, because they just give discount this, discount food, like people.
Well, they work
flock-
together.
People
you know,
flock in there.
It works together.
It's crazy in there.
Gas brings people in, the convenience store brings gas customers in, it kind of just works hand in hand, so. But,
Well,
Do you have some local stations, Wayne, already?
everything, we do have local stations, like the Irving Station, you know, on 110 Amesbury,
Yeah.
that's an old, that's the first station my dad built. I mean, you're talking like 1989, 1990, that's a long time ago, so
No,
it's,
it isn't.
it's an older station now. Yeah, so, but yeah, we just did the, I don't know if any of you guys go up to, by UNH or up to Winnipesaukee, but we just redid the Irving Station on the Lee Traffic Circle.
Yeah.
So that was one that we just did in Lee, New Hampshire.
So you're Irving or you're on?
No, we're unbranded and then we leased it to Irving. So all of our stuff right now is leased, but we do operate.
So you guys like a property owner and then you.
We're just a family business, yeah, we're the property owner, but I mean, we operate too. So
So
we
you might
operate.
lease it to Cumberland Farms.
Well, I haven't really done anything with Cumberland, but I mean, they're a great brand. They do a great job, so.
well, I mean, I would encourage you to do it. You'll get, I think I'll get the support of the ZRC and you know, I think when it comes to the board, you'll have that same support. We'll see what the town shows up with in terms of people coming out in opposition. You may, I mean, I think this site's a little different than what we were trying to do on Route 1 North in terms of the commercial activity that people didn't vote for, because this has a history of being, you know, in this type of use. So we'll just have to see if people feel like environmental impact is something that they want to consider, you know, reevaluating. All right?
And isn't this a little unfortunate as far as what happened to the property and why we
Because within 2 years, you could have just,
Why?
in the 2-year period, couldn't do a rebuild?
It was a $2 million investment for what was in that con.
No, but
Okay.
you had rights for
If
this.
you,
Will not include.
we own gas stations in Nantucket, the Vineyard, all through the southern corridor of Massachusetts.
No, but this site. didn't-
This gas station is a $2 million gas station built up there.
Yeah.
Our management skills are south of Boston. We don't have the facilities. We ran that station for the last 10 years. And we did about $1.3 million in gallonage at that station. Okay? And then Cumberland came down the street and was selling the gas at rack prices. Okay? The price that everyone else buys for. So they're selling it at rack. Okay? Go by there today and tell me it's rack price, okay? It's 20 cents higher than everybody else. And they're gouging everybody up here because there's no competition. They know they got you. You need a gas station. That's what I'm telling you.
My question
You
is,
haven't figured it out, it's sad.
my question is different. There was a station there, the station came down, and there was, the tanks had to come out of the ground. You could have put tanks back in the ground again as replacements.
For $2 million.
how much is
We didn't want to spend $2 million
No,
there.
but with no problems of approval.
Right,
about keeping the permits alive.
Right.
Keeping the
Yeah.
permit alive,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it was unfortunate.
yeah.
Yeah.
So how much is it to tax in now? Is it cheaper or something?
So that's part of the, what I'm saying is.
No, you're right.
That's part of the story.
You're right. It's not typical that you would put gas tanks back in the ground though, because typically after you put them in the ground, you need to put gasoline in to weigh it down and everything. So I get what you're saying, but that's the practicality of it, and that's not normal to do. Because there's other issues.
That really wasn't a viable alternative, and it's
I mean, I guess technically you could do it, but it's not
I
advisable, I
guess
don't think.
it just goes to your point, which is, you know, the town obviously sees the need for it. We didn't know we had the need for it until the 2 years lapsed and found out we didn't have an alternative.
Right.
So now we do, and now we have, now you as the landowner have to respond, and we have to respond as a zoning board to try to.
So you guys have voted the whole
I mean,
thing?
we would like to know, you know, what's the feeling on the planning board? What's their opinion about putting a gas station?
I think we're pretty favorable for it, but it's ultimately up to the
Yeah, I get
town. It's,
Yeah.
you know.
That's what
And I feel like
it's going to be up to the people around.
well, it's on it.
Especially because it's always been there.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not like we're trying to change.
Right.
if you can get the point across that it's just as safe as, you know,
See?
or
It's actually going to be a lot.
It's gonna be safer
It's
than
actually going to be a lot
tanks.
safer than the railroad station because you're going to have most likely vaulted tanks. I mean, that's a huge difference.
Right.
Be honest, I've never done it before. I'll be honest with you.
So the other issues that I look at is how well designed the station is, the landscaping,
Oh, of course.
parking, that sort of thing, so the regular stuff that we look at.
Sure.
I mean, is there drainage issues with?
Well, that would all be redesigned. You know, you get a full, you get a septic,
bring that point across as well.
septic
you know.
redesign. I mean, the whole site would be redesigned.
Yeah, those are all issues that are gonna come up as part of the special permit site plan review.
Yeah, and you'll have a chance to
Separate-
review everything.
But you
obviously.
may want to really look at all that to make sure it's worth it.
Right.
Because, I mean, the first step is to get the town to agree to change the zoning that you could even submit an application for this. But even once you submit the application, the board, the board can't look at ahead of time and find it, you know, do an analysis, land use analysis ahead of time and figure out what the problems might be. That's where you guys need to do your due diligence, and if you want to have somebody, a consultant, look at the site and maybe give you a heads up of any problems that might occur in terms of the zoning.
I mean, I've already kind of dove into that 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, we really didn't find anything
Traffic,
other than,
that is still.
I mean, we didn't get as far as submitting the, for the traffic permit and stuff, but I mean, we didn't see an issue with what we were trying to do with the entrances.
Like a
And the
traffic
traffic
study.
engineer didn't really see an issue with it.
The traffic study will almost definitely be required.
Oh, yeah,
with that
of course, yeah.
Okay.
Curb cuts there.
Yeah.
I don't know
Right.
issues with that. I don't know what the old curb cuts were.
Yeah, we would propose new curb
And
cuts.
that goes through, DOT.
Right, exactly.
And they take forever.
Right.
You already said it.
But, the thing we can't forget, we all know it, Nick's gonna be the first one to admit it, that look what was there before. A dump, frankly, it was a dump with a single island, with a couple of, 16, 17-year-olders. Maybe they felt like going to work, maybe they didn't. They pumped your gas. This is all state of the art.
Like I said, our business is south of Boston, but I live in North Andover. I come up here to check on things, and I got 3 of the guys working for me fighting at the gas station. One kid picks up a radio, throws it at another kid. I'm sitting there, my eyes are falling out of my head. People are waiting at the pumps. We can't manage the property up there. We don't have the facilities, we don't have the people, we don't have the team. So we decided to rip the place down and sell it. I had it sold to Walmart, I had it sold to CVS, and at prices that your eyes would fall out of your head, for more than $2 million. Okay? The trouble was the setback rule up there and the density formula. You couldn't get enough cars on there if you packed them one on top of the other, to meet the density formulas. So we went through all of those, and now we're back, to something that makes more rational sense for the town, And again, my motivation is nothing more than, it's a drag on me. I've got gas stations in Nantucket, on the Vineyard. The markup on gas there is phenomenal, okay? And we control the gas flow through most of New England.
Well, then that's your timeline, and I do think if you had somebody, if you were talking to somebody at the town about when the town meeting would be, that would certainly move things along for you more quickly if there was a motivation from,
What's the earliest we could get a vote?
that's what I'm saying, if the town decided to have a winter town meeting,
Yeah.
then that's the soon
Like
as
January.
It's gonna be a fall.
Well, late fall, usually it's like end of November is it would be the earliest we could have a town meeting.
Okay.
End of November.
That'd be the
And
earliest.
your standard one is the first week of May.
Okay.
Right.
So how do you motivate someone to have this meeting? Is it just there's a number of issues on the board that people are waiting to?
That certainly seems to be one motivating factor, but, you're talking about things that's why he said that people at the town want to see this gas station here. We don't get to pick and choose who develops, but if you got a developer that wants to, then maybe they'll get behind it, I don't know. I think if,
Sometimes it cuts both ways, because. if
Yeah, I'm just not
you're-
sure if I want to be the sole motivating factor for
Right.
another meeting.
Well, this year, there will be, coming up in the fall, Saeed Al-Zawar, he's really trying, he's got as-bills ready, he's going to be submitting those very soon.
so we do have a couple other things that are likely to be ready for a fall meeting.
Okay.
So, he's going to be pushing to have
And that's been, there's some,
And what happens if we don't get on in November?
May.
goes to
May?
First week in May.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we're all on the same page. I get where you guys are coming from.
Investigate engineering that is local or somebody who's already worked with the site previously, because you did clean up there or something.
Mhm. Well, I think it's grandfathered as a gas station up there. That's what I was told, okay? Because it was there so long.
That's hearsay, but
It
that's.
doesn't mean that you don't have to go in and get the permits. Okay? But it is grandfathered as a gas station.
Anecdotally, everybody misses the gas station, so I think we'd have no problem finding people happy to see the gas station.
Well, I appreciate you guys taking the time
Thanks.
doing this. So thanks for that.
All right, thanks. Yeah. All right, so next item, we have a discussion with Chrissy Mason pertaining to the amendment to Twin Hill Farms, 42 Newberry Road. OSRD special permit to convert a two-family residential to a three-family residential.
I gotta use my stuff.
Okay, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
So my ask is really just to get a sense of your thoughts on, we have, if you're not familiar, I didn't do anything with me today because I was just hoping to informally have this conversation. But the Twin Hills Farm, OSRD, one of the buildings that we are renovating was an existing building, 12,000 square feet. Based on the approval, we have 5 units. So the original house that was on the property built 2 houses that are sold, and then the remaining 2 would come out of that.
So the remaining 2 are coming out of the 12,000 square foot building?
Yes.
Okay.
So that said,
Yeah.
12,000 square feet is a lot of square footage for 2 units. And what I'm looking to kind of get a sense of is, if it's possible, and would the board consider entertaining the idea of a 3rd unit, provided that the current facilities are sufficient to provide for that unit. There's parking, the septic system, because it was going to be finished space anyway, the septic system had to be sufficient to support that. There's sufficient parking, again, same reason, based on the bedrooms, we needed a certain number of parking spaces, that's still available. And then in terms of, and I know this is a hot button for David, the architectural integrity of the building, it wouldn't change the footprint at all. Quite frankly, from the exterior aesthetic, it would only change the style of the garage door that would be in front. I would change that to be something that is barn-like, but provides light.
So you wouldn't have to add any different garages, no different driveways or access?
No, because garage parking wasn't a requirement. We have sufficient parking spaces.
So essentially you're saying that there's just more space than you need?
Then we know what to do with, and given the just volume of build out that this required, it's just a huge financial burden on us. So I think it would be devastating to have to sell it after 2 years of
So, what I think we have to start with this is could we have done it in the first place?
Right. So.
And I did talk to Kirk about it a little bit, and it sounds like it's a pretty good chance we might have been able to do this had you started with this proposition, a 6-unit OSRD, based on the fact that I think initially you potentially could have gotten 7, but based on the yield plan, it came down a little bit. What were the numbers?
Well, the yield plan ended up being at 5, but the actual density calculation would have permitted 7 units. That was from the density calculation, but it was the yield plan that brought you down to.
And I think that was because of the way that the land is.
Yeah.
It's a very long piece of property, so I know that the issue there and what kept us at 5 was the distance from the last driveway to the town road in the traditional yield land. So, and I could be wrong, but I feel like that piece is somewhat moot when you're doing an OSRD and you're giving up that back half of the property and condensing the subdivision anyway.
Well,
So you could have gone for the waiver on the road originally, I think, right? That would have been the way, the route to do it.
That's what that's how I read
Like we've done the last
the
couple
bylaws.
of OSRDs we've done.
This is in the existing building?
Yes, it'd be a third unit in the middle.
In the middle, yeah. So if you remember the building, it's a giant barn. The part in the middle, that would be a garage. Rather than having a garage door, it would be 3 to 4, depending on sizes, big traditional barn doors with glass to provide light so that you could use that space and not have to disrupt the look of the big
When I
barn.
first saw that structure, I saw 3 units, just an architect. That's-
I think we were very much caught up in 2 years into the process of trying to get before the board and wanting to get moving, and now we're 5 years into the work investment of getting this going. And
You'd like to see an endpoint?
yeah, we'd like to see an end point, and John, quite frankly, is just completely consumed by work, so he can't even be here to have this conversation. But my concern is just fiscally, it's going to be a burden. And
I mean, I think, like I said, that's really the initial hurdle. I mean, I'd like to find that we could have done it initially, because then we could obviously consider this modification, you know? Because the idea is not to squeeze more lots onto it than you could have ordinarily done, or done in the first instance. But I also don't want it to be too complicated or too burdensome that you have to do a lot of new engineering, but you still may have to do some to demonstrate that, well, like we said, you know, you have to show a roadway with, that exceeds 1,000 feet, and then plot out the lots that you could have gotten had you gone with a conventional subdivision, to demonstrate that you could have gotten 6 lots on there, which would allow us to give you the 6 you need in the OSR, in the development portion of the OSRD. So I don't know how you can
So
avoid
it's a new yield plan with a waiver on
with the waiver on the line.
the road distance.
It seems like that's at least one aspect of it,
is
right?
there not another way to approach it?
I don't, you know, it's, I mean, and it's almost unfortunate having done that analysis, that slightly, you know, additional analysis back then, we could have went back to the old findings and said, oh, we did have 6 units, so here we are, but.
Well, can I say the yield plan, the way it reads, the yield plan shall establish the maximum number of single-family dwellings that could be built under a conventional subdivision plan, given the existence of the site on any topographical constraints, primary conservation area. But it said, I mean, it says shall establish the maximum number of single-family dwellings. These are actually like 2-family, and they're proposing a 3-family. I mean, does that necessarily translate to units? I mean,
Well, I'm just trying to get a count on a number of.
because of the unit, the density.
What we're trying to do is get the conventional
Conventional yield, yeah.
yield plan.
Which, and what do they call it, lots or, I think you're talking about dwellings.
Yeah,
What do you call it, units or lots or?
It's lots.
Well, the thing is, they're lots, but when it comes, once it's a condominium, they're units. Or
But
dwellings,
originally, your yield plan is giving you
lots,
lots.
which equate to,
Buildable, zoning compliant lots.
yeah. But I'm just saying, when you think of this, with the traditional way is to translate from a conventional subdivision with all the configuration to a OSRD lot. So actual still single family lots. That's the idea. I think behind the yield plan is to like have a different scale, have single family lots but scaled down to a cluster.
Right, but that gives you the bonus and everything else if you want to use it, and we get a whole new design because you have that yield plan.
but you're still maxing your count off of the conventional lots.
Yeah, I just didn't know if there was a situation, because in like these situations, like where the density might give you more units, if you translate that difference into having like a multi-family type combinations, like 2 or 3 family, you know what I mean? It's like,
But aren't you still talking about
You have to have the yield plan,
units?
the yield plan to give you the original count so that you can make your new count.
You can't divide those subdivided lot, those lots, once we get the count, you can't make them into
yeah,
duplex lots.
yeah. I'm only putting it out there just to like, just that there's some potential.
Well, but on the other hand, let me ask you this, I mean, there is that codes ordinance, section within the ordinance that says if you do 2-family townhomes, you can get a density bonus.
Yeah,
Within a certain district, but
that's
Within the
the,
OSRD.
that's
So
the,
let's
that is actually the other aspect. Let's see, density bonus may authorize a density bonus up to 20% if the applicant proposes on or off-site public improvements or amenities that result in a substantial benefit to the town, which are beyond those necessary to mitigate the impacts of the proposed OSRD. Or townhouse dwellings constructed in a New England village-style architecture with a maximum of 2 bedrooms per unit.
You have 12,000 feet, and right now you have 2 units in there, so you're looking at 2 6,000 square foot units.
well, 1 story, ours is the bigger piece.
Because what we're looking at now is a section within the code that says if you make them 2-bedroom townhomes, we can probably give you the extra one as that 20% density bonus.
Yeah.
20% of 5 is
Yeah,
would give you that 6. Yeah,
the problem is ours is already 3
bedroom.
bedroom.
But could you make the other 2 2-bedroom?
The other 2,
It would be some enormous 2-bedroom condos.
it would be an enormous 2-bedroom house. And I don't know if that would,
So,
How hard is it to do a yield plan?
Oh, it's not, but I think that they'll still run into the same problem.
yeah,
I don't
I mean,
think
it's
they
more
found
just.
the original
But
problem.
the yield plan wasn't in
Is it
the
a yield-
Can I ask about a density bonus? Have you, as a board, any of you been involved in a situation where a density bonus was given, and what were the terms of that? What kind of improvement? I know, we did Keystone and things to preserve access to the conservation land, which is different from what I've seen in other places where there's been access to the conservation land, but, what additional things, or is what we have provided sufficient to warrant a
The density
bonus?
bonus is based on a yield plan initially.
But I think that
5, right?
we have 5, so a density
20%.
bonus of 20% would be what?
6, we'll give you
6.
6. But the only way you earn the density bonus is either by doing those 2-bedroom townhomes, which,
No, I think it's.
No, if you donate something.
or if you donate something else, right?
Additional,
Which is
yeah.
what you just get.
But it says on or off-site improvement.
Right.
So I guess, and it's at your discretion. So I guess I'm asking,
What's the 3rd unit worth?
what is a 3rd unit worth?
The
Well,
police
there's all that
station.
open space.
That's right.
It's worth a
Yeah,
basketball court.
never mind.
A zip line down the,
Good.
The thing is, we have considered this question with a few other developers even recently.
I vote for a zip line down the playground, but yeah, we've got one, that's awesome.
That, I'm
We've
pretty
had
sure
this
that the town
conversation
does
twice in the
not
last
pay
6
the
months,
extra
though.
insurance on that one, so take a wild guess.
Starting to work on a dog park.
Yeah.
I was thinking dog park too.
Where's the dog park gonna
In your backyard.
In my backyard?
No.
It already is.
I know.
Joe would love
That's
that.
where it is actually.
I got a reason.
I was thinking in the, something like providing dog waste stand and supplies at the entrance of the conservation.
I mean, we could check out
Trail.
conservation and see if they would.
I don't think anybody's opposed to the extra unit. You just have to find a way to make it.
To justify the decision to allow it, yeah.
Right. So I guess that is my reason to be here tonight. is to determine,
So
what's within your capacity, what
So-
kind of guidance can you give us?
if you do a new yield plan with road waiver and could be at the 6th lot, you could do it that way, right?
That's one way,
If you
right?
continue the,
But you need a waiver on road length.
yeah, but I mean, that's the way it was previous, I mean, the only reason I was wondering is that you're just gonna run, I don't think there was a way around the initial yield plan, I think you were set at 5
Yield-
lots.
What was it, the initial yield plan was 5 lots?
I think,
Well, it was very, like, if you go back and read what Larry actually said, it was, like, the yield actually was, so the density was 7, the yield plan, I think, actually yielded 5, and it could have been 4. I mean, he could have made it 4, but we ended up at 5.
Okay,
you
so
need
now it's
to-
starting to sound like this, so you're not gonna find it in the yield plan.
so it's a question of density bonus.
It sounds like it.
I just don't think if you go to the yield plan, you're not gonna get a different result.
Right, unless you had somebody find different frontage in different area, I don't know how they could.
You know?
What about like trail maintenance or something?
Well, that's what I was wondering if,
If you could talk to conservation, maybe you could clean up the trails, maintain the trails, something so people actually want to use the trails.
Yeah, I mean, somebody was talking about a density bonus a couple of months ago. I did ask Brent to suggest where, improvements could be made that would provide better access for the public. I mean, that's really.
Do some parking spaces somewhere
I was gonna
else,
say, some parking
off-site,
spaces
elsewhere, if
because
they need
we have
parking spaces, I mean, that's something beneficial.
I think we also would like to see the last decision.
Oh, actually, it's in there, in your packet, at the very end.
Well, we're not gonna look at it tonight, but I think go back and look at the site plan and everything, see if it's a true.
This is, I only did.
I'll come to the office, that's, because somehow it's gonna be.
It seems like,
It
given
just
your
seems-
12,000 square foot building out there, would be shame if we couldn't find a way
Right.
to utilize it more completely.
It does say in the zoning rules
Remember
that
John being-
with the blessing of conservation, so maybe Brent is. I guess my question is, if I go to Brent and I ask him for some suggestions on where we could make some improvement toward conservation in Raleigh, is that something that the board would recognize as a sufficient contribution to warrant a 20% density bonus?
I don't know.
Here's what it is, I guess.
Have to
I
look.
mean, off-site improvements, but that's my feeling.
I gotta read the ordinance carefully.
Yeah, I think your reading of it is the same as, it does seem like we have the discretion,
Yeah.
but if we're gonna use it, I think we have to make sure that at least it's tangible. I'm not sure how we quantify, is a $500 sign, inducement? Probably not. Is mapping out the trails and putting down some crushed stone, maybe that's something, I don't know how we do it.
The language of that, a density bonus up to 20% if the applicant proposes on or off-site public improvements or amenities that result in substantial benefit to the town, which are beyond those necessary to mitigate impacts of the proposed OSRD. So I don't think we've ever really applied this.
So, I mean, the impact, you're not impacting anything further with the third unit, so
Yeah.
anything above and beyond is the way,
See, I initially thought.
that's the way I'm reading it. I mean,
That was a 3-unit building, right? from the
exactly,
start.
and you're not changing anything in the footprint, the civil stays the same, you know what I mean? If we can find something off-site to,
I mean, I
Or
recognize
on
that
site.
it has the potential to set a precedent, so I understand that I have to do something.
we don't believe in this.
Well,
That's.
it really shouldn't set a precedent because it's not changing, we're not adding another
You don't believe
building.
in precedent.
Okay, good, I'm glad we don't believe in precedent. I
But
recognize that I have to do something because that's what the rules say. I guess I'm just saying, who tells me what that is?
I
And
think
so
that's
that
a
I
good
can
place to start.
determine that
We have to
it's
think
feasible.
Because the thing is, I think Brent's a good place to start, because those are things that are like, first place, you've created open space and a trail, you know, you got a trail system, so that seems like where maybe you're confined, you know, an amenity that you can work on. We're not gonna tell you to go build a new police station because, you know,
But recreation is another area. where
Yeah.
you can go.
I'm telling you, zip line, don't need a little zip
Yeah.
line down at the playground.
I'm not paying the insurance on that.
Why would you, it's a town, so you're donating it, yes, you're donating it.
top of Pulpit Rock, right down across. that
Part of
down
the reason
Fleet.
it's two families, John said, I need the space or something like that.
He's silly.
I didn't hear that.
I'm gonna have no kids.
So I think, talk to Brent, because that's really kind of where we have to get to, because it doesn't sound like the engineering is gonna change the numbers.
I don't think so.
The other thing is the health department, you may want to check with them about the capacity, the septic capacity.
Yeah, I know it limits us to 2 bedrooms because we're at a 5 and we have 3, so.
And then fire.
But that space was going to be treated as bedrooms anyway
Yeah.
because of the design. So having 2 bedrooms there is not going to change that septic piece of it. Obviously, we have to, deal with other utilities, but again, it's not gonna change the footprint, the aesthetics.
Were plans drawn for that building by the architect? The barn?
What I'm saying, or
No, not.
oh yeah, no, Cummings did the barn, yeah.
Yeah, it's all in steel inside, it's already done.
Yeah. Well, the 2 new houses are done and sold.
Yep. I see them on the map.
You do? Impressive.
Apple map says 2 houses on it.
Oh, yes, but it only recognizes those in the house.
The barn is there too, yeah.
Can't use GPS to find us. That I know.
All right, well,
So talk to Brent.
talk to Brent.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Make sure you go carefully, because I don't want to see us, pursue it and find out we have a reason why we can't, so I think what you're talking about, like if you're gonna get that density bonus out of providing some amenity, that seems like something we can absolutely kind of clear before you submit it, because, you don't want to say, this is what I'm gonna do, and spend any time proposing it,
Right.
and then find out that's not something the town wants. I guess we can
So
try
talk
to
to
figure out.
Brent and come back and talk to you.
Yeah, Brent's actually on vacation this week. He probably has to he might have to get some information from, Open Space Recreation, or he may even need to check with the board of selectmen and find out before. I don't know if he could come up with ideas of his own.
Talk to Joan Peters, she's a neighbor.
Oh, yeah.
She probably has an idea of what they can do with
Give them one a dirt lot, a free dirt lot.
She'll tell me to get rid of that hill. It's not ours.
The road.
Yeah, that's mine spotted. That's not ours.
it. All right, so next item, and thank you.
Thank you.
Hopefully that was kind of what we were hoping to figure out. All right. Next item, certificate of compliance from Mirando Brands at 219 Newburyport Turnpike. Kirk and I went out to this place last week and took a look at the guy's facility. This is the guy that manufactures those dosing cups using CBD and THC and a couple of different things. In fact, what he says he's going to be doing next? Dehydrated alcoholic beverages. So he says he just,
What would you do, just add water?
just add water. Can you imagine? He says a bar can just buy all the dehydrated cups and then just add water and serve it as very
Which one's that?
He says cruise ships, we use them on the airlines. But anyhow, we were there really just to look for the compliance with what we put into the order. There was a lot of specifics about cameras, security, fire
The
suppression,
existing one.
air handling. The fire department had a lot to say about it, so did the chief of police. And everyone seems to have,
Well, I will say, I haven't been able to get the police or the fire chief out there,
okay.
but they're going to get, so I thought maybe, like, we could just from a planning board perspective, release a certificate of compliance. They can't, the building inspector won't release the certificate of occupancy anyway until the fire chief and,
Okay.
police chief will confirm, so they sign off on it.
So how is it from the planning board's perspective?
Looks good.
Okay.
The guy's absolutely, you know, put a lot into it. He seems like he's
Would you cycle on paper?
got a business plan, he's got some, you know, a neat concept what he's trying to do there. It hasn't, he's spared a little expense, doesn't look like, everything seems to be pretty neat in order.
Make a motion, we approve the certificate of compliance for Miranda Brands at 319 Newport Turnpike from the planning board's point of view.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So unanimous for 319. Great.
No invoices?
Let's see, I do have like 2 invoices and, or 1 invoice here. Or 2 invoices, actually. One here. This is one of the last.
Tomorrow.
Last of the year.
Tuesdays if they don't occur.
What's that?
Thought the meeting was tomorrow.
He
called me, I was sitting there.
How the dates are confusing me.
You were all broken up. Oh, God, this is.
I was watching the Red Sox game. Sorry to you, but I got it.
And this is the end of the fiscal year, so there's a certain thing where I have to get split into, this week is the end of the fiscal year, and the next week is the beginning. So I have to get 2 timesheets.
You just want 2 checks.
So kind of just like,
You just want 2 checks, it's fine.
double regular.
He's double dipping.
Oh,
I never did that.
We can do sound review.
I missed Kevin.
Kevin's gone.
That's it.
We gotta do that.
This one's more or less done.
All right.
One set of minutes.
Looks good.
The April 23rd? I'll take that as a vote yes.
Let's punt on those minutes. Did you already,
Well, everybody should have it there. Really,
Can you spell it?
yeah. If I actually did spell check,
2 places. There's a couple. Appreciate it.
Yeah, solar line.
everybody knows that I managed to squeeze this all into 2 tables.
Time to go back to the old room.
What's that?
Almost time to go back to the old room, isn't it?
This is where I go. Let's get
You're
this thing.
spoiled, yeah.
Yeah, don't you like the one, we had the computer there, you can.
I do like that.
I went to, I took a tour of the firehouse today, and they have a big conference room that's available for us.
That's fair, it's close to
I
us,
think it's,
right?
that's what I'm thinking,
You
yeah.
can split them
Once
up.
in a while, we
Yeah.
should do it, just to make them feel.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, we'll start doing that.
Use some of that space over there.
Is that,
We adjourn the meeting.
oh, I'm gonna make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So